Hey, Chiefs Kingdom. It is with a heavy heart that I come to you all today. Um, Many of you were watching the Bills Bengals games last night, and you witnessed what happened on the field to Damar Hamlin, and it was very difficult for all of us to see. So, frankly speaking, I'm really not in the mood to talk about playoff standings, predicting where the Chiefs are going to end up being at the end of the year. I really want to focus on what happened last night. And so in last night's game, Damar Hamlin made what appeared to be a pretty routine tackle. He stood up and he fell back down to the ground on the field. Um, a lot of physicians that I follow on Twitter who seem to have the best explanation of what happened is that there was a contact or impact to Hamlin's chest, and it must have happened at just the right time within the rhythm of his heart, and it caused a cardiac arrest. And he dropped to the field. As of now, Hamlin's, as of now is in Tuesday morning at about 11 a.m. Hamlin's in critical condition at a hospital in Cincinnati. And right now, I'm of the understanding that they have him on a 72-hour sleep. And the time it took for him to get oxygen back to his brain after his heart stopped, that's really the most critical factor right now. And we're just waiting to see what happens with him. And if you pray or you're a praying person, please do so for this young man's health and safety. I've been praying, last night, this morning. It's been weighing on me pretty heavily. So, like I said, I'm not in the mood to talk about the standings or any of the things that I usually talk about. I want to say that one thing that really struck me about everything that happened last night was the mentioning of who Hamlin was or is as a person. And they mentioned last night on Twitter that this quote from him, whenever he was considering going to different schools, he chose to stay in state about 20 minutes from his hometown where he went to college. And the reason he did that was because he said that he had a little brother that was 2 years old at the time. And he wanted him just to grow up with a role model in his life and to give him someone to be able to model himself after. This is a very selfless man, Hamlin was and or is, and he he had organized a fundraiser for Toys for Tots for a local charity in Buffalo. And after the news came out last night, or after the injury last night that he sustained, that charity erupted, and people were donating from everywhere. And as of earlier this morning, they had raised $3 million for Hamlin's charity, which is honestly speaking uh, some of the better signs of who we are as human beings, who we are in totality as humanity. Last night's reaction from football fans, non-football fans, was nothing but pure shock, as well as support and love. And people really reached out, and people have put their money where their mouth is and donated to this young man's charity. And all we can do right now is pray. Like I said, I didn't want to talk about, and I don't want to talk about football standings, any of that stuff right now. But one thing I wanted to talk about, because of the news that we had heard about Hamlin, and the thing that struck me most was just the positive things that he had done in his life so far. And that's what really struck me about everything, is just his impact, his who he is as a person. And that's why I wanted to go through different Chiefs players and talk about their impact on the community and kind of their charities and foundations. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to go through the Chiefs players and talk about what their foundations are, how they've impacted their community, and all that good stuff. So first we have Justin Ried. And so Ried has the Ried Indeed Foundation, and this supports disadvantaged youth and communities through interactive programs, community engagement, and access to technology. And Ried has been quoted as saying, "Our true goal is just to equip the next generation with skills they'll be able to use their whole life. So this is Justin Reed's way of giving back to his community and impacting the lives of children, both in Kansas City and Houston. Then you have the Frank Clark Family Foundation, and they have the goal of leading and supporting all children and helping them build the best foundation to motivate and prepare them for a rapidly changing world. So, this foundation seeks to instill critical thinking skills, global perspectives, and a respect for core values within the members of that foundation. Next, you have Juan Thornhill. Juan Thornhill, after the horrible case where the University of Virginia football players were shot and killed on November 13th in 2022, he donated some signed game gear as well as money to help pay for those players' funerals so that way the families wouldn't have to be burdened with that. Creed Humphrey, before he was drafted and as well as after he was drafted, he was a supporter of saving pets at risk, and he supported this because he has a dog that he adopted from an animal rescue organization, and he's an active volunteer to help save the lives of pets who are endangered or in a difficult living environment. So he's big into um, rescue of pets and especially dogs. Next, you have Orlando Brown. So Orlando Brown is a part of a foundation that is leading the fight against type 1 diabetes in juveniles. And the goal is for that organization is to provide research funding for research so that way they can break through against type 1 diabetes and hopefully find a more effective cure or better solutions for people who have juvenile diabetes. Next, you have Harrison Butker. So Harrison Butker has a Harrison Butker Family Foundation, and their goal is to engage, enhance, and empower various organizations that are important to Butker and his family. So it's important for Butker to give back to his community as well as many of these other Chiefs players. Next, you have Chris Jones with the Sac Nation Foundation, and his mission is to improve the health and well-being of young people in underserved communities. And they want to improve the communities by bringing people together as well as resources to help in a positive way that improves the overall quality of life for people who may not have been able to have those opportunities um, that many of us have. Next, you have Jerick McKinnon, and when Jerick McKinnon was in San Francisco, and he still continues this this work that he's doing, but he was a member of the Silicon Valley Animal Control Authority, and they were basically providing citizens of the region with funding for taking care of sick or injured or lost and abandoned companion animals. Or they also helped look into animal cruelty investigations, the enforcement of animal laws, so taking care of animals legally, and then education and outreach programs, volunteer and foster programs, and so much more. So Jerick McKinnon has been involved with the caring of um, animals, rescue animals, just overall animal well-being. Next, you have Travis Kelce. So Travis Kelce founded the 87 and Running Foundation, and the goal is to create a real and lasting change in communities he calls home by providing resources and opportunities for underserved children and teens. George Karloftis, he is big into rescue animals as well, and he has provided funding for Canine Companions, which is an organization that helps place and offer expertly trained service dogs with adults, childrens, and veterans free of charge. So I think this is a wonderful cause to be involved with. People who are blind or may have other disabilities. It takes a lot of work to train those animals to get them ready to a place where they can be a service to people in need. And so George Karloftis has been involved with that, with those efforts. And you have Patrick Mahomes with the 15 and the Mahomes Foundation. It's spearheaded by Mahomes, and it supports initiatives focusing on health, wellness, and communities in need, especially for children. Then you have Derek Nottie. And Derek Noddy has a wonderful quote. And he says, "As Noddies, we don't receive, we give." And that's something that was instilled in Derek Noddy by his father. And the Derek Noddy Foundation aims to cultivate positive change in people's lives by inspiring children and families through meaningful interactions and assisting those in need. So Noddy has a spirit of giving given to him by his father. He's a wonderful member of the community in Kansas City. And then you have Juju Smith-Schuster. He is a member of many different foundations. Um, the latest thing that he did was just a week or two ago, before Christmas. He paid off $10,000 worth of layaways for the Christmas season. So people who are expecting, bills for maybe their toys for their children or gifts for their family, he paid $10,000 of that off. And then I also saw another layaway that he paid off that was $25,000. So great member of the community, really being generous during Christmas time. Then you have Legarius Sneed, and Legarius Sneed is partnered with Big Brother, Big Sisters of Kansas City, and he's played an active role in helping children reach their full potential. And he said that he's proud to support Big Brother, Big Sister of Kansas City and defending the potential of children in Kansas City. He says the kids are our future and the next generation of game changers, trailblazers, and difference makers. So Jerry Sneed has been very involved with the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kansas City, and he's done wonderful work to help change, teenagers, lives in Kansas City. Then you have Joe Tooney. He's been linked to various foundations for children's hospitals in both Boston and Kansas City. Marquez Valdez Scantling. He's volunteered for Metropolitan Ministries and Habitat for Humanity. So also another animal lover on the Chiefs roster. And you have Brandon Williams, who was recently signed by the Chiefs, and he had a rough few months as a teenager. For just 6 months, he was living in his mom's car. They were vehicularly homeless, and as an adult, Williams has sacrificed so much of his time supporting boys and girls clubs in Baltimore. He eventually was awarded an MVP of the Community Award, and he's quoted as saying, "The path I took to get where I am today wasn't easy, and it has really inspired me to give back as much as I can. Kind of like, to whom much is given, much is expected." And so, with the Damar Hamlin news, I just wanted to go through all of the good deeds that these Chiefs players have done. And I wanted to paint a bigger picture, and that the NFL is full of these guys, these high character guys that are contributing to their community. And this is the fabric of who and what the NFL is. The players make this league. And seeing an injury like what we witnessed last night is just so difficult, because there's so many great young men that are the future of this country on these teams in the NFL that are doing everything they can to make a positive impact. And whenever you see a player go down like what you saw last night, it really changes your perspective. And I think these players have the perspective of trying to impact as many people as they possibly can by, doing good deeds. And so while my prayers are going to be with Hamlin, I really wanted to highlight just several of the Chiefs players who are part of um, either foundations or doing charitable work. And um, I only mentioned 17 players during that spiel. So there's many more players on this team who are uh, who are charitable with their time. They give back to the community. They're charitable with their money. And so these great young men who are on these teams, I pray for all their safety. And I'm not really sure um, if this video, has any impact on your life, but if you do want to give to some of these players' foundations after watching this video, more power to you. But like I said, I didn't have the stomach or the heart or the desire to talk about anything related to the standings, all that stuff. It hasn't even been 24 hours yet since last night's game. Like I said, I'm recording this as of Tuesday morning, but I just wanted to spotlight the Chiefs players and how they've positively impacted their community and how they're part of a larger fabric of the entire NFL that was all impacted last night by what happened on the field. So I'll be praying for Hamlin. And with that, I really don't have anything else to say. I just really hope that he's well. Only time is going to tell. All the standings, the remake of the game, I still think that needs more time to get sorted out if it ever happens. So that's all I've got. Blessings to you and your family. And like I said, keep Hamlin in your prayers and thoughts.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.